Hey everyone, welcome back. I really appreciate the engagement I got in the last video with my back training. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how I do the inverted rows and why I find the value in them and how to mitigate some of those cons that people speak of. Now, this was inspired by this person here. I don't want to butcher their name. I apologize. I'll put their name in the comment in the video. And it's basically, do you do just bodyweight inverted rows or do you manage to put weight on it somehow? I imagine weighted inverted rows are pretty difficult to set up. They are for most people, but for me, what I did was I invested in a Rogue vest. And this vest, it allows me to, attach a loading pin. So you're going to see my setup, how I do it. Now, just before I get into showing you how I do all this and kind of speaking on the video, I just want to go through some cons of the inverted row. So, and these cons don't really apply to me. And hopefully it won't apply to you after you watch this, and you hopefully can apply this in your own setup if you can. The cons are harder to progressively overload with. And that's true. Most of the time you see people putting plates up on their pecs and stuff, and it kind of limits the range of motion. It feels awkward, and it's awkward the stronger you get. You have to get the plate, put it on. A little bit dangerous sometimes, even if you have full controls, sometimes ish can happen, Grip can be a limiting factor. I mean, I guess so. But if you use a barbell to do the inverted row, then you just use straps, so it's not a big deal. Difficult to standardize the angle and the setup, and this is true too, but there's something that I'm going to show you, and this is a little bit over the top, min-maxing, but I think some of you might have an appreciation for it. You might not apply, but you might be thinking that's pretty smart. Easy to use body English and momentum, that is true, but it ties back into my difficult to standardize, which I will get into. Now the pros, they're very low fatiguing. So tomorrow when I do them, I'm actually going to do heavy high bar back squats and heavy conventional deadlifts. So, because my program is basically upper body push-pull, lower body push-pull. It doesn't matter which I start with, but I usually start with and always start with lower body push-pull, then going on to my upper body push-pull. So can you imagine after you do heavy high bar back squats, conventional deadlifts, the last thing you want to do is heavy seal rows or pull-ups or I don't know, it's just, for me, inverted rows are just so low fatigue, even when you get super strong at them, my opinion. Great for scapular health and control, in my opinion. Allows for full protraction and retraction. You can actually really just hang and just kind of have that protraction, and then you can go all the way and just retract. It's just really good. Easy on the lower back compared to heavier rowing variations, obviously. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into how I do it. So I'll put the video up on screen. Basically, here I am, setting up the camera, and I'm wearing a Rogue vest. And this vest has got a little bit of a place on the front and back to be able to attach a carabiner. And I'm guessing this is for sled drag, sled pushes, whatever. So what I do is I get a loading pin, and this is how I set up. So you're going to see me here. I'm just adjusting the camera. I've set the barbell at a height that's appropriate so I can get full range of motion. So here I am. I'm just attaching the carabiner to the vest, and I wear work boots so that it's comfortable where I put my feet, and I put them on that windowsill. It just so happens to be the perfect distance. I use straps, and my position and my hand position or the width on the bar is basically that my forearm is perpendicular to the floor. Okay, so that way I can actually, execute the movement in a way where it's natural. So my forearms aren't out or too in. They're kind of just, it might not look it in the video, but I mean, to me, how I'm doing and how I'm seeing it in real time, it's just crisp. So here I am. So in case you're wondering, how do you standardize this? Now, you can't see this. I'm just going to quickly pause. But my camera, my phone, it's got a magnet, right? So I put my camera above just here. I'll highlight it on the video. So what I'm doing is I'm actually looking at myself in real time doing it. So the camera is obviously behind me, but I can actually see myself. This has got a magnet, it's stuck. And what I'm doing is I'm keeping my glutes tense, all right? And I'm standardizing my form. How do I standardize my form? Well, I'm using this variation of the inverted row. You can do it however you want. You can do elbows tucked in to bias more lats. You can do it elbows flat out to bias more upper back. Again, like I said in the previous video, you're just biasing more of these regions, but that doesn't mean that you're getting 0% lat work. It'll just be like suboptimal, you know? So if you're someone who's lagging lats and you're solely depending on these sort of movements, you know, then perhaps, yeah. Anyway, how I standardize it is I'm looking myself in real time and I'm constantly telling myself to keep the glutes squeezed so that I'm not kind of dipping at the hips, if that makes sense, because that weight's dragging me. So I'm actively trying to keep a rigid, kind of like a tight chain in my body, if that makes sense. But keeping my core tense, my glute tense. And when I pull up with my elbows flared out. So I'm just going to play it in my end right now. So there I am. I pause 1 second at the top, come down. So as you can see, before I go to the next rep, I squeeze my glutes. See, so it's I'm very conscious. You probably can't do this, or you might forget maybe if you're not watching yourself, but you can always remind yourself. You can always I think I don't need to do video of this anymore, but I still do. So yeah, and you might look at the loading pin and think, well, you're already almost maxed out. No, trust me, I've got thinner plates that are 55 pounds. I can get all the way up to like close to 300 pounds if I wanted to, which is not going to happen anytime soon. Believe me, like this exercise is pretty tough. You know, I've set some limitations on myself. I'm doing a double progression on them for the time being. But yeah, I use work boots for comfort. I use straps to mitigate the limiting factor, which is my grip. I watch myself in real time to see, you know, if my form is standardized and is quote unquote perfect, at least for me. I pause at the top again to standardize it. And yeah, that's how I do weighted inverted rows. It's the only thing that could go wrong is if these J-cups malfunction by some misfortune and I fall, I might impale myself. The likelihood of that happening is slim to none, in my opinion anyway. But yeah, it's a great exercise. It's probably going to be tough to set up at a commercial gym, but if you got the ingenuity to do so, I don't see why not. If you got a home gym, I think this will pay massive dividends to your workout arsenal when it comes to back. Especially like for me, I just love doing it in the flared elbow position. It's just really going to hit my upper back. It's going to be good for shoulder health. Yeah, so hopefully you got something out of this. Hopefully you got some value, and I'll see you tomorrow maybe in the next one. Cheers, guys.